I want to say that the very first time that somebody asked me what forensic psychology was, they were thinking of CSI, and they said, "Is that CSI?" And I said, "It's almost like CSI." In actual fact, what forensic psychology is the application of psychological principles within the justice system and the forensic system. And when I say that, I mean the law enforcement system, the detention system, the criminal justice system like the courts, and also the correctional system. And this would be by things like doing police selection within the law enforcement system, helping the judges determine cases better within the court system, and designing programs for rehabilitation of prisoners and inmates within the correctional system, and also within the probation system, helping these probates come into normal life again, reintegrate. So we designed those kinds of systems to help them reintegrate into normal life. Well, here's the thing. I think that psychology as a field in itself is so important because it's a study of the human mind and the human behavior. Forensics in specific will actually be what I call applied psychology. And in this case, we talk about things like crime in our society in Kenya, for instance. And if you think about crime, we have these guys who are committing these crimes, but we don't understand them. Now, the field of forensic psychology comes and helps us understand what's going on with these criminals, and also helps us to see what trajectory is in these people's lives that we can actually be able to stop. So for instance, I can give you a good example. When we look in the low-income areas and the slum areas where we have a big problem of rape, we go in and we understand these young men and realize that their attitude towards women, their attitude towards the way they are raised, and their attitude towards crime is so different because they've not been socialized the correct way. So our job in forensics is to come up with programs that actually address them and their attitudes, address everything. We've been working with more than 7,000 children right now in Nairobi alone, and we've changed the way their attitude is, and I can assure you the rates of rape attacks have gone lower just by talking to people who could have been potential criminals. The beauty is, when we attack people before they become criminals, we're actually helping the society, as opposed to waiting for them to actually commit the crime, then come and have band-aid or stopgap measures, which are not really as useful, and they're actually more expensive. The whole field of psychology, for me, important in the education sector, very important in the health sector. As a matter of fact, studies have shown that about 50% of people who show up with pain in hospitals also have a bit of minor depression, and they also have a lot of hopelessness. If we have psychologists with them, we can actually be able to help them understand their symptoms and get out of that state of hopelessness, and they can actually be able to live healthy, productive lives. The chiefs, the DOs, the local authorities, these people need psychologists with them. Why? Chiefs and DOs will always hear about a lot of the domestic violence cases, a lot of the incest cases, all of those before any psychologist or before any other law enforcement person hears about them. So to me, psychology is key in helping solve some of these societal issues. Another reason why I think that psychology and forensic psychology is important is in the area of relationships. When we talk about people not being satisfied in their marriages or people not even understanding their relationships, I think psychologists can be very key in helping people to self-discover themselves, to not only fall on culture as the basis of how to get married and how to lead a married life, but to also understand society is dynamic, it's changing. Roles between men and women are changing, they're improving, they're changing, and we need to know, can we talk about them? Are we going to just stick to the traditional things we've talked about, or are we going to be realistic? Because you cannot expect a woman with a PhD to leave her hard work in the ministry of wherever she is at 9 p.m. and come and cook her husband, who's been home since 6 p.m., a cup of tea. And if she does not do it, he's really annoyed and he decides to beat her up. And then I have to deal with him in prison. What I'm saying is this, that society needs to get into a frank conversation where we address our values, where we're starting to go wrong, and psychologists are going to be the people who come in and help that. In conjunction, of course, with sociologists and other people who study the human being, but psychologists will come and tell you why individuals act the way they do. For me as a forensic psychologist, I'm happy to be part of that team that can do that. My take-home message for the viewers, for anybody watching this, for the readers, for anyone who's going to have a chance to look at this, is that we've gone through so much as a country, as a region. We have so much stress from retrenchments, crime, political violence. We've had a lot of things that have happened to us historically. History that we've not even really gone into to talk about, that has contributed to a lot of our problems. Corruption, a lot of unjust things that have happened to us. I want to tell Kenyans and the rest of the people in this region right now that I think the #1 thing you can do for yourself is reach out to somebody next to you. get to understand them, get to know them. Let us become connected as a community.